in the course of the meeting. So please exercise patience as we rejoin the call again. Um, okay, so thank you very much. I am Prince Adimado. I am a alpha member of MLSA. I'm a student of Accra, computer science student of Accra Technical University, and this is my email, prince.adimado@studentambassadors.com. So I'll begin with the outline for the program. So this is the outline for the first session, which is introduction to Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador. You start with a brief history of the program, the purpose, what is the program itself, that then the benefits in the program, application process, then levels in the program as well, the MLSA program. So let's go to the brief history. Okay. Okay, so Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador did not start as Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador program, but at first in 2001, it began in 2001 as Microsoft Student Partners. It started with 15 countries for 5 years, but in 2006, it was scaled to reach 50 countries. 50 countries. And at some point, as in my research, the total membership was around 2,000 plus. But currently, the membership of the program or the students in the program is about 5,000, over 5,000, and we are still growing. And okay, I'll get there later. So how did Microsoft Student Partners change to Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador? So on July 20th, 2020, the Microsoft Student Partners was rebranded by Microsoft to Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador Program. Okay. So I believe that's it. So, okay, this is my source. Then we begin I'll go on with the purpose of the program. Okay, so the Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador is an educational and promotional program to sponsor undergraduate and postgraduate students who are majoring in disciplines related to technology, typically computer science and information technology. So at first, only computer science and information technology students or students who major in these fields are accepted into the program. But from a conversation with CPM, Aaron Bloom, he said like all students can apply, like from an accredited university. So once you are an engineering student and you are interested in technology, you can apply. You can apply for the program. So the MLSA is an educational, as I said earlier. So one of the purpose of the program is to enhance student employability and increase student awareness of Microsoft technologies. The program also aims to increase the awareness of Microsoft products, programs, and initiatives by increasing the user base of Microsoft. By increasing the user base of Microsoft product, and this will result in better availability of properly educated workforce in this technology. So as more students are being accepted into the program, they get to learn the technology that interests them in like Microsoft. Then after that, they will be advocates, or they'll set their careers in that career path. So once they are able to, like, once they are done with the program or university and they are working, there's a workforce for them to, like, they become like people in the community that will help anyone who is trying to get into that technology, and they also earn money from that. So, and programs and the initiative and programs, we have something called Imagine Cup, where students across the world come together to solve a real world problem, and after that they choose a winner from that. So I'll go to the so there's a slide. Okay, so I'll go to what is Microsoft Learn Students Ambassador. So it's a global group of on-campus ambassadors who are eager to help students and their communities lead in their local tech circles, lead in their local tech circles to develop technical and career skills for the future. So student ambassadors have to make a good use of the opportunity given them to learn, because one of the key words in the name of the program is learn. So the purpose of the word is to learn and impact. So once you have learned, then you have acquired the required skills from all the available resources given to you. You demonstrate your skills by organizing events in your local tech community. So concerning your local tech community, I'm a student of Accra Technical University, and Accra Technical University is my community, and we will make sure to make our presence felt over there. So one of the things that are required for you being in your local communities to as ambassadors, to share knowledge with like-minded peers that who are passionate in that technology and want to solve real world problems, and also establish themselves as leaders in their respective communities and amplify their impact. And I also said our reference, Mr. Aaron Bloom, he says that it's not only, you don't have to only focus on your community, that's your university that you applied in, but you can also volunteer at a secondary school who is like interested in STEM, right, in technology, and you can volunteer then help the students acquire these skills from the skills you have acquired. So I'll move on to the advantages, not to waste much time, of the program. Okay, so advantages. So there are several advantages, but I'll like to mention a few. We have an amazing community, and all of us here are using Microsoft Teams. But once you are accepted as an ambassador, and then log in with your ambassador account, a whole new interface will open up in Microsoft Teams for you, and you'll be amazed to find a lot of people over there across the world. And the program is present in about 110 countries. Yes, in about 110 countries now. You have outstanding experience to add to your resume. So once you organize events and do other stuff, you have experience to add to it. Then you have live hand score with the leads of MLSA program and community. So the live hand score is let's say a meet, like a virtual event where all students ambassadors gather to hear from our program manager, our CPMs and directors. Then you have product, so you have exclusive access to Microsoft 365 apps such as Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Access, and all that. And you have also online cloud like based apps such as Microsoft Forms, OneDrive, and all that. So these are one of the some of the resources like I have for Microsoft PCs. And also Visual Studio Enterprise. You have free domain name. Then you have TextMix product, and TextMix product are screen recording and capturing softwares. But before you access this package, you have to apply for it before. Then you have Microsoft technical certification examination. So you receive a free voucher to take the course. You also receive a voucher to take the Microsoft certification examination. And once you take it, then you pass it at a certain stage in the program. Once you progress to let's say the beta section, you also receive additional vouchers to take more like certifications. You have LinkedIn Learning, and I'll be talking about LinkedIn Learning very soon. LinkedIn Learning, you have to have a LinkedIn account before signing up. Yes, you have to have a LinkedIn account. So it provides you once you reach the alpha stage, Microsoft offer you a free voucher on LinkedIn Learning to supplement the result you have for Microsoft Teams. Oh, sorry, for Microsoft Learn. And Microsoft Learn is a platform where everybody can access, not only students and ambassadors. So once you learn from Microsoft, once you learn from Microsoft Once you learn from Microsoft Learn, you can supplement your learning with LinkedIn Learning. Then you have Swagbox, and Swagbox are items and latest souvenirs that will help you or to show that you are an ambassador, such as branded certificates, name badge, stickers, and some cool branded goodies. So these are advantages or benefits you get. Then opportunity to organize and conduct programs. So I'll move on to how to apply. How do one apply? So one must visit this website, studentambassadors.microsoft.com. Once you visit the website, you click on the blue button, a big blue button that's called apply now. So once you click on apply now, you'll be redirected to sign in with your Microsoft account. So once you sign in with your Microsoft account, if you don't have one, create one and use it. So this is the interface of the Student Ambassadors website. This is the web page. So please forgive me if there's background noise. There's something going on in my environment. So please forgive me for that. So pardon me for that. So yeah, you have to hit the apply now. Once you hit it, then you or click on it, you'll be redirected to the once you sign up or you're signing, you'll be redirected to the application itself. So let's see the sections in the application process. So these are the sections: privacy and terms, personal information, academic institution, up to additional information. So the application, once you read the privacy and terms, just check the box here and agree to the privacy and terms agreement. Once you are done, you go to next. So these are the personal information. In the personal information, you realize that my name is already has already been entered into the input fields for the first name and the last name. Then your email is also entered. Now please also make sure that if you want to apply for this program, don't use any other name. Use your real name, because your name will be set on certificates and all that. So please use your real name, right, on your Microsoft account. Don't go and use any other name, any funny name. So use your real name. Then enter the order. Make sure you specify all the required fields in this section. Because once you don't certify any of the required fields, you'll not be able to submit the form. So let's go to next, which is academic institution information. So you enter the country of where you are coming from. That's Ghana, the degree level, expected year, graduation date, degree program, the state. Make sure you satisfy all the expected graduation dates. So the time you complete school. So once you have done that, just go to next. Then this is the application question itself, and you being accepted into the program depends on this. Mostly depends on this. So you have 3 questions. That is teach, inspire, and to promote. So these are what you'll be doing when you are accepted into the program. So they are asking you. So in these 3 questions, you have to select one from this drop down menu. The one you have to record a 2-minute video on one question, right? So if you choose teach, you got to record the 2 minute video on that particular question. So let's see the questions. Okay, this is it. How will you teach a technical concept to a friend? So me, I chose teach when I was how do you call it? Taking the screenshot of the site. So I chose teach. So if you can show your public speaking skills or demonstrate it under 2 minutes using teaching any technical concept to a friend, please do that. Record a 2 minute and a 2 minute video, then upload it onto a specific site. I advise that you upload into OneDrive or any cloud service, then so that you copy the link from the let's say OneDrive, then paste it here. So in pasting it here into the input field, you realize that there's an HTTPS protocol, like it is attached to your link text. So please delete the HTTPS from your link text and add the rest of the link text to the HTTPS provided over in the input field. So once you have done that, you are good to go. So you come to Inspire. So this is the question. So I advise that you go specific. Don't lie. So, and please, the input or the maximum characters for the input field is about 1,000. So please, you can write, but don't write about 2 or 3 lines. Then they promote you the same. So if you are not feeling comfortable writing into the input field, you can write into the notepad or Microsoft Word, and after that copy the text and paste it here, and you are good to go. So let's go into the social media. So in the social media section, we have if you have written a technical blog post before, like you have not written some, don't bother yourself. But if you have done that before, please provide the URL here. Then have you done a tutorial before? Please, if you have not done that before, don't bother yourself. Online resume or website. I said maybe if you are into programming, if you have not built your portfolio, don't bother yourself now. If you have a GitHub account, please provide your GitHub account. It's necessary. For me, I say it's necessary. Then your LinkedIn. Once you are starting into the program, you and progress to another stage like that, the upper stage, they'll give you free access to LinkedIn Learning. So it's necessary to provide your LinkedIn account. If you don't have one, great. Then technical blog, don't bother. If you don't have the plural site service, if you don't have, don't bother yourself. They have if Stack Overflow, if you have a Stack Overflow account, please provide it. Then Instagram and Twitter. So once and these fields are not required, so you can leave them, but please provide the LinkedIn account and Twitter if you have one. Okay, so we have additional information. Then which of the first question says, which of the following technologies interest you? So and also, if you don't understand the input, you can highlight on this button to show you or give you more information into the input field, and select for you select tap on or click on the drop down menu to select all or some of the technologies that interest you. Then is there anything else you would like to share with us? I consider this as a pitch section where you have to tell them like how you really need the program to be part of the program. So you can tell them what you do aside schooling. So what do you do aside schooling? What do you do? What do you volunteer somewhere? What do you do? What sets you apart from other students? And tell them the reason why you really need the program. That's what I did. I pitched myself over there. So once we are done, let's see the technology that may interest you. So these are the technology. You have artificial intelligence, IoT, that is Internet of Things, web development, app development, mixed reality, gaming, DevOps. Oh, sorry. So once you are done, once you have selected the technologies that interest you, then you just click out of it. Then so once you are done, you are done. You are just done. Then just click on the submit button. And also, if your submit button is dim, right, or it does not show, it's not blue, then that means that you have not certified the input field. So go back into the sections and see where we didn't certify or didn't certify a specific field and certify them. So once you are done that, the submit button will be blue, then you submit. And also once you submit, you receive an email confirmation stating that you have to wait for some time before you receive any confirmation that you've been accepted. And it takes a long time. And the last intake section or cohort section started in, or it began in October, and Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador runs or intake people 4 times per year. So it's 3 months, 3 months. So the next selection will be in January. So if you are really interested to be in this program in your school, you can start the registration process, then wait till January for you to be accepted. And if you are not accepted, the email confirmation, I think it will be stated in the email confirmation once you submit the form. So thank you very much. I'll move on to the levels in MLSA. Okay, so so these are the levels in MLSA once you are accepted. I call it a bonus. So these are the benefit. These are the benefit you receive at every stage. So once you complete the learning part of Microsoft Learn, you'll be promoted to the Alpha section. And Alpha section, once you host an event and it has been approved by how do you call it? Microsoft, you'll be promoted to the Beta section. So that's it, and these are the benefits. So thank you very much. Uh, So thank you very much. I am Prince Adimado. If you have any questions, you can send. You can input into the sorry, into the chat section. So locate the chat section and type your questions over there. And once Victor is done, we will make sure to answer your questions. So thank you very much. I'll hand over to Victor Nana to continue with cloud computing and Microsoft Azure. So thank you very much. So Victor, you can continue.
All right. Hello, everyone. Good morning once again to you all, and welcome to my first event as a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador. I am thrilled to have you on this call. As my colleague said, if you have any questions, you can leave them in the chat, and we'll attend to them during the Q&A session. Otherwise, we'll have to open the microphone for you to share your questions. All right, let's begin. My name is Victor Addae. I'm an Alpha MLSA from the Accra Technical University, and I will be taking you through the introduction to cloud computing and Microsoft Azure. Let's take a look at our agenda for today. So we'll start with the introduction to cloud computing, which involves what the cloud is, as well as the meaning of cloud computing. We'll also see some examples of cloud services or resources. We'll then move on to cloud computing service types. We'll see their definitions, advantages, and examples. We'll also talk about how the types of cloud computing services compare to the traditional computing, which is also known as the on-premise computing, in terms of resource management. Our next topic on the agenda, we'll talk about the benefits of cloud computing. We'll see some of the benefits you get when you employ the usage of cloud computing. Then finally, we'll move on to the cloud deployment modules. Under that, we'll see the processes or ways involved in setting up or distributing cloud services or resources. Under Microsoft Azure platform, we'll see what the term Azure mean and what Microsoft Azure is about. We'll see why you should use Microsoft Azure, some Azure services or resources.
Hello, Victor.
Yes, Prince.
Hello. I can't see your screen. I don't know whether you're sharing your screen. I can't see.
Okay.
I can't see either.
All right. Sorry about that. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, yes, I can see your screen.
Yeah, it's working.
Right. Okay.
Well, we might want to
So
start over.
right. Okay. So we're actually um taking a look at the agenda for today. We are going to start with the introduction to cloud computing, right? And it involves what the cloud is as well as the meaning of cloud computing. We'll also see some examples of cloud services and resources. Then we'll move on to cloud computing service types, right? Their definitions, advantages, and some examples. We'll also talk about how the types of cloud computing services compare to the traditional computing, which is also known as the on-premise computing in terms of resource management. Our next topic on the agenda, we'll talk about the benefits of cloud computing. We'll see some of the benefits you get when you employ the usage of cloud computing. Then we'll move on to the cloud deployment models. Under that, we'll see the processes or ways involved in setting up or distributing cloud services or resources. Under the introduction to the Microsoft Azure platform, we'll see what the term Azure means. Also, we'll see why you should use Microsoft Azure, some Azure services or resources, what you can do with the Microsoft Azure platform, and also some career path with Microsoft Azure. Finally, Microsoft Azure account and portal. Under this topic, we'll see the types of Microsoft accounts and how to create them. We'll also see how the Azure portal looks like. Under the Q&A, we'll take your questions and then answer them. And we'll wrap everything up with the summary of all we've learned and bring our event to an end. This should be fun and educative. So let's get started. Right. So the introduction to cloud computing. Before anything, we need to understand what the cloud is. You may have heard people use the term cloud or cloud computing or even cloud storage, cloud service. But what exactly is the cloud? So the cloud is the internet. To be specific, it's all the things that you can access remotely over the internet. So when we say something is in the cloud, what we mean is it's stored in the on the internet service instead of the physical computer's hard drive, right? Now, now that we have an insight of what a cloud is, we know what a cloud is now. The cloud is the internet. Then what is cloud computing? Cloud computing, we can say, is the delivery of computing services over the internet. In other words, it's a way of renting computing services over the internet. So compared to the physical computers that you have in your homes and offices, um, we have the storage, we have the servers, we have the networking aspects of them. When it comes to cloud, it's the same, just that we can access these things on the internet or over the internet instead of the physical or traditional one that we have in our homes. Renting services, as we know, you'd have to pay for what you rent or what you request, and then probably return them after use. Same applies with cloud computing. So, what are some of the resources that you can actually request or rent over the internet in terms of cloud computing? So we some of them could be storages, which is cloud storage, cloud servers, cloud databases, cloud software, compute power, a whole lot. Basically, everything that we have in our physical traditional computing systems, we can also have them with the cloud computing. Right. So let's talk about how we can access some of these resources over the internet. Let's take storage, for instance, cloud storage, right? We know how the traditional or physical storage devices and services work. Hard drives, CDs, USB flash drives, and so on. They come with an amount of storage space which determines its value. But we're talking about cloud storage, and knowing what cloud means, cloud storage will be a storage space or service which is made available by a service provider for rent or purchase over the internet. Good. So some examples of cloud storage would be Microsoft OneDrive, right? Microsoft OneDrive gives you 5 gigs of free storage on your initial sign up, but you can request for more data storage if you need it, which you'll be charged for. So comparing to our physical storage that we have, if you're working on a project or you are developing an app, right, and you have about 320 gigs of storage left on your hard drive, right, but you need 500 gigs, there is no way you can purchase an additional 180 gigs to get your 500. You'd have to either purchase 128 gigs or 256 or probably even 500 or 512, but you'll be purchasing more than what you need or less than what you need. But with the cloud storage, you can actually request for what you need and then pay for exactly what you're using. Same applies to the other examples of cloud storage services such as Google Drive, iCloud, and Dropbox. Right. Now, other cloud services or resources include cloud networking, compute power, database. So looking at our image here, this is an evolution of storage devices. Where we came from to where we are now. We used to use the floppy disks to the CDs, then the USB flash drives. Now, a lot of institutions, organizations, and individuals are employing the use of cloud computing. Right. So let's look at some of the cloud computing service types that we have. There are 3 cloud computing service types. The infrastructure as a service, IaaS. We have the platform as a service, PaaS, and also the software as a service. Hold on, guys. Let me admit some people are trying to join. Prince, can you please admit
Yes, I'm doing that. So I'll take care of that.
all right, thank you. Right. So yes, there are actually 3 cloud computing service types. Can you see my screen, please? Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, I can see
Yeah.
your screen.
All right. So there are 3 cloud computing service types. The first one is the infrastructure as a service, IaaS. The underlined word here is infrastructure as a service. So this means that the cloud service provider provides a user, usually system administrators, they provide them with the infrastructure components that they need to run their organizational needs, right? The second one is the platform as a service, also known as the PaaS, right? Now, the underlined word here is platform, and the cloud service provider provides the user, usually for developers, right, with a platform which includes the tools that they need to build and develop their applications. So the cloud service provider provides them these tools to build and deploy their applications. The third one is the software as a service. Now, the underlined word here is software. So with this, the cloud service provider provides the user, the users, which is the general public, with an up and running application software. So let's try to summarize everything. Let's make it more understandable for us. Right. So with the infrastructure as a service, as we can see here, right, as we can see here, so this is a cloud-based alternative to the on-premise infrastructure. On-premise means the physical or traditional infrastructure that we have in our homes. So the infrastructure as a service is more of a cloud-based alternative to this type of service, right? Now, what that means is that the cloud provider hosts the infrastructure components that are traditionally present in an on-premise data center. Now, in this module, the cloud provider provides or manages all the IT infrastructures such as the storage, the server, and the networking resources, and then deliver these resources to the user or subscriber organizations through virtual machines that are accessible via the internet. So the advantage of this is that the administrators or the users wouldn't have to worry about the IT stuff, like about the data centers, about the hardware or anything. The cloud service provider will manage all those infrastructure for them. So some examples of this type of cloud service would be Google Compute Engine, Microsoft Azure, which we'll talk a little about, and then the Amazon Web Services, also known as AWS. Now, for the platform as a service, as we've come to know, the underlined word here is platform. So in this module, a third-party provider or a cloud service provider will provide or deliver the hardware and software tools to the users or the developers over the internet. So usually, as we've come to know, these tools are needed for application development, right? So a PaaS provider or a platform as a service provider will host the hardware and software on its own infrastructure. Therefore, the advantage for the developers or the users here will be that it will free them from having to install the in-house hardware and software to develop or run a new application. So they wouldn't have to start from scratch when creating the applications. And some examples of these services are Google App Engine, Windows Azure, Elastic Beanstalk on Amazon Web Services. The third and final one is a software as a service, right? Underlined word here is software. Now, in this module, the cloud provider will host applications and make them available to the general public over the internet. Now, with this one, it is run and managed entirely by the service provider. Therefore, the advantage here would be that the users wouldn't have to worry about maintenance or anything. All you have to do is just download it and it works and remains available, right? So examples of this type of service will be Microsoft Teams, which we are using for our event. All you did was download and we are using it. How it's maintained, how it's managed, we don't care. We just use it. So Microsoft Office 365, Skype, Dropbox, Gmail, Slack. These are some examples of this type of software as a service. Right. So let's take a look at a table. In terms of resource management, who manages what, and we'll compare this to the on-premise infrastructure or on-premise cloud computing service, which is also the physical or traditional computing service that we have in our homes, right? So with the on-premise cloud service, the blue highlights what the user manages and the green highlights what the service provider or the vendor manages, right? So with the on-premise, you manage everything by yourself. You manage every single thing from applications to networking, your data operating system, everything. But with the IaaS, the infrastructure as a service, the cloud provider manages the IT infrastructure, such as the storage, the networking, and then the service. And then they deliver these resources through virtual machines, which can be accessed over the internet to the user, while the user will manage the rest. So the user wouldn't have to worry about the IT stuff, which are these green stuff here. They wouldn't have to worry about data centers. They wouldn't have to worry about hardware. They only take off their apps, their data, and then their operating system platform. Now, with the platform as a service, as we can see, the user only manages their applications and their data. The cloud service provider will handle everything else for them. This makes your work very fast and then saves you a lot of money as well. With the software as a service, as we can see, the user manages nothing at all. everything is run and managed by the cloud service provider. So this makes it fast and also reliable. Now, this takes us to our next topic, benefits of cloud computing. Let's discuss a few. Right. So the first benefit we are going to talk about will be file storage. So with this benefit, you get to store all types of information in the cloud, including files, data, and emails, which can be accessed through any PC or mobile with an internet connection. Now, files and information stored or saved in the cloud can be shared with your friends. You can share it with your family and business partners, no matter where they are, no matter their location. With this also, you'll be able to recover your emails, you'll be able to recover your files and data in case something happens to your computer, since most of these cloud service providers provide data backups, they provide disaster recoveries and also fault tolerance. Our next benefit we'll talk about is convenience and reliability. Right. So if you've ever used Microsoft OneDrive, if you've ever used Gmail, if you've ever used Yahoo Mail, then you've already used the cloud. This is because all the emails in these web-based services are stored in the cloud service rather than your computer's hard drive. So what this means is that you can access all your emails from any computer with an internet connection, no matter where you are. This also means, again, you'll be able to recover your emails, you'll be able to recover your files and data if something should happen to your computer. The next benefit is global. What do you mean? In the previous two slides, I've used the phrases no matter your location and no matter where you are. It's also one of the most important benefits of cloud computing. Using the cloud means that you can access your files and data from anywhere in the world. All you need is an internet connection to access them. The next benefit is security. Yes, another important benefit of cloud computing is security. Now, with this, the cloud provider takes care of the physical security, so you wouldn't have to worry about anyone else having access to your files. This usually comes secure by default, but you can still configure it to match your preference or your taste. Our next benefit is scalable and elasticity. In terms of scalability, you get to increase or decrease resources and services based on demand. What do we mean by this? Right, looking at our image here, we see there's just one user here. So the resource available to this one user in terms of size compared to the other ones, this is small, right? So it matches with the demand of this single user. So the compute power, the database, and other resources needed for this single user matches with the demand here. But as the demand increases, we see the size of the resource or services also increase, as we see here also. So that is what scalability means. So you get to increase or decrease resources and services based on demand. This one benefit of cloud computing, right? Now, elasticity. This gives you the ability to automate scaling during spikes and drops in demand. What we mean by this is you'd have to make sure that the resources match the demand by yourself. That is, if you are not using the elasticity benefit. But with these benefits, you can automate it. So even when you are not around, and then there's a surge in demand, automatically it will match the demand coming from the users. So this is another benefit from cloud computing or employing the cloud computing service. Our final benefit that we'll talk about will be cost effective. Yes, with cloud computing, you only pay for what resources or services that you use. And sometimes when you use it, so you could have it and not use it, so you wouldn't be charged for that. But when you use it, you'll be charged for it. So it's more like a pay as you go service, right? Since you are only paying for what you consume, this means there is no upfront cost, right? And this lowers the cost of your operations, saving you a lot of money. So these are some of the benefits of using or employing cloud computing services. Now, let's talk about how cloud services are deployed or distributed. Usually, there are three common cloud deployment modules. The first one is the public cloud, the second one is the private cloud deployment, and the third one is the hybrid. But we'll talk about four, the fourth one being community cloud. Now, let's talk about them. With a public cloud deployment module, it's defined as computing services offered by third-party providers or cloud service providers over the public internet. So we know the cloud is the internet. So the public cloud will be providing computing services to the public internet. Now, these cloud service providers, they make them available to anyone who wants to use or purchase them. So it could be free or it could be purchased on demand. Some of the resources that you can demand or purchase would be compute, storage, applications, development platforms, and a whole lot, right? Now, public clouds can also be deployed faster than on-premise infrastructures and with an almost infinitely scalable platform. So that's the little we can talk about public cloud. Some examples of public cloud services include Microsoft Azure, AWS, Amazon Web Services, IBM Cloud, Oracle Cloud, also Google Cloud Platform. Now, what about private cloud? A private cloud is a module of cloud computing where the infrastructure is dedicated to a single user, organization, or a single person, a specific person, right? It can be hosted either at an organization's own data center, or it can be hosted by a private cloud provider who offers private cloud hosting services. Typically, with this type of cloud deployment module, the end user is responsible for the operation of a private cloud as if it were traditional or physical infrastructure, which includes the ongoing maintenance, the upgrades, the operating system patches. You'd have to handle everything by yourself if you are employing this type of cloud deployment service. But an advantage that this type of deployment service has over the public cloud is that it offers the organization more control and then offers better security. But before you can use this type, as we've come to know, it requires a much higher level of IT expertise compared to the public cloud. So the third one, the hybrid cloud. Now this is a combination of the public and then the private cloud. So if we do a little math here, hybrid cloud is equal to public cloud plus private cloud. Yeah, so the main aim to combine these clouds, which is the public and private, is to create a unified, also automated and well-managed computing environment. In this type of cloud deployment module, the non-critical activities or activities that are not very important are performed by the public cloud, whilst the critical activities or the important activities are performed by the private cloud, right? So places where we can see this type of deployment model being used will be in finance, in healthcare, and then sometimes universities as well. And the final one, the fourth one, would be the community cloud. A community cloud is a cloud infrastructure which multiple organizations share resources and services based on common operational and regulatory requirements. So in other words, community cloud is an integrated setup that combines the features and benefits of multiple clouds to address the needs of a particular or specific industry. Examples of community cloud deployment modules will be for the government sectors, for the healthcare sectors, and then the education sector. To understand this better, we have a table which will break everything down, everything that we've discussed so far down for us. So these are the deployment modules: the public, private, community, and then the hybrid, right? Now the scope of services would be the people that will benefit from this, and who owns it, who manages it, also the level of security, and then the location. Most of us on this call are in Ghana, so would like to compare these deployment models to our various transportation systems so we can understand it better. So the public deployment model would like to compare it to our public transportation here, which will be the trotro. Well, then we will compare the private ones to private owned vehicles, which would be like private cars and yeah, personally owned vehicles. The community deployment module will compare it to community sorry school buses or work shuttles, company buses and stuff. Yeah. Well, then the final one, the hybrid one, will compare it to. We know the hybrid is a combination of the private and the cloud. So what type of transportation system do we have that combines the public and then the public transportation? This would be like the Uber, the Bolt, the Yango, Taxify, and the rest, right? So let's see if we can understand them better. So in terms of public transportation, it's for the general public. Anybody can use it, right? And it is usually owned by someone. It's not owned by us. It's owned by someone else, right? It's managed by that someone else. And then the level of security for public transportation is low, right? The location would be where the car or the vehicle is kept. So if it's a bus, where is the bus kept? Do we keep it on a compound? No, it's kept by the person that provides the public transportation, right? So in terms of cloud deployment, public deployment model is for the public. It's for everyone, and it's owned by someone, a person that is actually providing the service. The cloud service provider is still managed by the cloud service provider, and the security level is low, and the location will be off premise. We know on premise means the traditional physical infrastructure that we have in our homes, so we wouldn't have that in our homes, therefore it will be off premise. Now, with a private deployment, just as a private owned vehicle, it's for a single person, right? A single organization. In terms of cloud deployment model, this will be for a single organization. It's dedicated to a specific organization. It's owned by that single organization or that single person in terms of transportation. It's managed by that single person in terms of transportation or the cloud service provider. Now, what this means is that if you have your private vehicle, right, for yourself, you could drive it yourself or you could hire someone to drive you around. So with this, it will be managed by you and that driver, but it will only be owned by you. Now the security level for this deployment model is high compared to the public transport, the transportation, private transportation. If you own your own vehicle, the security level is high compared to the public transportations that we have. Right. Now, the location would be off or on premise. What this means is that in terms of cloud deployment models, it will be off premise if you give the access to a cloud service provider to handle it for you, then it will be off premise. But on premise, if you are handling it yourself. Right. Now, the community deployment module is for organizations that share the same mission, policy, and security requirements. It's owned by several organizations. It's managed by several organizations or the cloud service provider. The security is high and it could be off or on premise. Now, in terms of transportation, the community shuttles, work shuttles or school buses, they are usually for only school children from a particular school, right? Or if it's an organization, if it's a company, it will be for the workers in that particular company. So it's not accessible to the general public. Not everyone can use the public or the community or the work shuttle, right? It's owned by several organizations, as we've talked about. It's managed by several organizations or a cloud service provider. So you can also employ the services of a cloud service provider to manage your community deployment module for you. The security is high. Yes, if we compare it to in terms of transportation, the security is high because not everyone can access it. It's for a selected or a particular community. The location could be off or on premise, so it could be with us. We could manage it ourselves with us, or we could hire the services of a cloud service provider. Finally, the hybrid. So just as the Uber, Yango, Taxify, this is for the public, but also some a certain people. Yes, let me put it that way. So you'd have to request for it, then it comes for you, right? So in that way, it's more of a private transportation system that is being used publicly. So that is how the hybrid deployment model works in terms of cloud computing. Now it's owned and managed by organizations and cloud service providers. So in terms of transportation, the Ubers and Taxifys and Yangos would be owned by whoever that owns the vehicle, as well as whoever that is driving it. Sometimes you get to keep the car on your compound, so you can actually work faster and stuff like that. Now the security level would be medium. This is because we are combining the public and private deployment modules, so it will be medium, right? But you can also adjust it to your preference. The location, just as the community, will be off and then on premise, right? So this I hope this has made us understand what we are talking about here. So let's move on to our next topic, Microsoft Azure. The term Azure means bright blue color of the cloudless sky. So when you look up into the sky, the bright blue color you see, it's called Azure, or it's known as Azure. Now, Microsoft decided to name their cloud provider service after that. Therefore, Microsoft Azure is Microsoft's cloud provider service, right? So Microsoft Azure is a cloud computing service. Simply, is a cloud computing service from Microsoft, which offers a range of SaaS, software as a service, PaaS, platform as a service, also IaaS, infrastructure as a service options for deploying and managing your applications on data centers that are managed by Microsoft. So we know what cloud computing is, right? Microsoft Azure is a cloud computing service that is owned by Microsoft. Therefore, the services that it provide are services from Microsoft, the Microsoft company itself, right? Microsoft Azure also supports private cloud, public cloud, and hybrid cloud deployment, just as we've talked about. So in terms of security, Microsoft Azure's robust information security services provide general storage, database, and networking security, right? Microsoft Azure is also equipped with an ever-expanding set of services for hosting your business presence in the cloud, to running fully virtualized computers for you to run your custom software solutions. Why Microsoft Azure? Microsoft Azure is one of the best, if not the best, cloud service providers available, right? Now, when we talk about the best and most popular cloud service providers in the world, you cannot leave Microsoft Azure out. We have Amazon Web Services, AWS. We have the Google Cloud Platform, and then of course the Microsoft Azure. So what else makes it one of the best, right? Microsoft Azure has over 200 services. Also, it guarantees the best security and protection. Microsoft Azure employs or hosts 90% of the Fortune 500 companies. The Fortune 500 is an annual list of compiled and published. It's actually a compiled list and published article by Fortune magazine, which ranks the 500 of the largest United States corporations, right? And 90% of these companies run on Microsoft Azure, so it's a big deal. Now, Microsoft Azure has the highest number of data centers. A data center is a building or a dedicated space within a building which is used to house computer systems and associated components such as storage systems and then telecommunications. And Microsoft Azure has the highest number of these data centers. This means that you get to access your files wherever you are very quickly, very fast. Microsoft Azure supports a wide array of operating systems and frameworks. This means that uh, whether it's Linux, whether it's Windows, whether it's Ubuntu, Microsoft Azure will support it. So this gives an opportunity to all kinds of developers from any coming from any operating system and framework. Microsoft Azure has region-to-region site recovery. So in terms of security, your files, your resources, and everything are safe with Microsoft Azure. So this is a list of some of the world leading brands that are running on Microsoft Azure. So if you look through them, you can find your favorite brands here. I see Intel, I see Verizon, Motorola, I see LG, I see Samsung. All these brands, these are top brands. They all run on Microsoft Azure. So what are some of the services that Microsoft Azure provide? As we saw in our previous slides, they have over 200 services, but we'll talk about a few of them. Right. The first one will be the virtual machine. What is a virtual machine? A virtual machine, commonly shortened to just VM, is a computer file, typically called an image, that behaves like an actual computer. So a virtual machine is not a computer, it's a software that behaves like an actual computer, right? But it's no different than any other physical computer like a laptop or a smartphone, because it has a CPU, it has a memory, it has disks to store your files. It can even connect to the internet if needed, right? But whilst the parts that make up your computer called the hardware are physical and tangible, virtual machines are often thought of as virtual computers or just softwares. They only exist as code. So this means that you can run a virtual machine on your physical machine. But what do we use virtual machines for? What can you use a virtual machine for? So we can use them to play around with different operating systems. We can use virtual machines to run softwares that your main operating system cannot run. So for example, we know that Windows 11 operating system is out, but not every computer can run it because of certain hardware requirements. But with a virtual machine, you can actually run the Windows 11 on a computer that does not support the hardware requirement. So you can also try out applications in a safe sandbox environment on virtual machines. So for application developers, when you are developing your application and it's not done, sometimes when you run it on your computer, it messes up your computer or your files, right? But to try out your apps that you are building, you can use virtual machines. So you'd have a safe sandbox environment to try your applications on, right? So the next service is the Azure CDN. Azure CDN means Content Delivery Network. So the Azure CDN is designed to send audio, videos, apps, photos, and other files to your customers faster and more reliably using the servers that are closest to each user. So this is mainly for content creators or content makers, right? The next one is the blob storage. The Azure Blob Storage. Blob stands for binary large objects. Binary large objects. Now, this is a feature of Microsoft Azure which allows users to store large amounts of unstructured data, which includes objects such as images and multimedia files, right, on Microsoft Data Storage Platform. We say they are unstructured because they don't follow any particular data module. So blob storage for an organization that creates content, for example, would mean that keeping backups of previous versions of a site and its content and images, which will need to be accessible from, let's say, a different location, right? Using Microsoft data storage, the company can make this material easier and quicker to access compared to it being kept in a single location server. So the next one would be the Azure App Service. Azure App Service lets you create apps faster with one-of-a-kind cloud service to quickly and easily create enterprise-ready apps and mobile apps, web apps and mobile apps for any platform or device, right? And you can actually deploy them on a scalable and reliable cloud infrastructure, right? So the next one would be the Azure AD or the Azure Active Directory. Azure AD is a Microsoft cloud-based identity and access management service, which helps an organization's employee to sign in and access external resources such as the Microsoft 365, the Azure portal, and also thousands of software as a service applications such as Gmail, Slack, Microsoft Azure, and also internal resources such as apps on your corporate network, right? Along with any cloud apps developed by your own organization. So, for example, as an IT administrator, you can use Azure AD to require multi-factor authentication or a two-step verification when accessing important organizational resources, right? It also gives you powerful tools to automatically help protect user identities and credentials. So let's take a look at an overview of some of Microsoft Azure's resources. So there are over 200 of them. So this is a few. Right. So we can see in terms of compute, we can see the virtual machine which we talked about here. In terms of storage, we see the block storage here. There are a whole lot of them. Web apps, Visual Studio for developers. We see the Azure AD. Right. So there are a lot. But why should you care? With Microsoft Azure, you can develop applications. With Microsoft Azure, you can test applications. With Microsoft Azure, you can host applications. With Microsoft Azure, you can collect and store data. You can also integrate features. You can add features to your applications with Microsoft Azure. Aside this, you get the opportunity to some Microsoft Azure careers, if I should put it that way. So you can become an Azure administrator, right? Which who is responsible for implementing, monitoring, and maintaining Microsoft Azure solutions, right? You can become an Azure developer, where you design and build cloud solutions such as applications and services. You can become an Azure solution architect, where you work to develop enterprise level solutions for a company using Microsoft systems. You can become an Azure consultant, where you help companies develop solutions for Microsoft Azure cloud services, or you can become an Azure data scientist, where you have the expertise. Oh, sorry, right, where you have the expertise of um, using machine learning or implementing machine learning uh, to 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 create and optimize applications for use, right? So we've talked about a whole lot of services on Microsoft Azure, but how do we get them? How do we get access to them? Before you can do that, you first need to create an account. So there are actually two types of accounts. There's a free account and then there's a paid account. So we'll see how to create one of them, right? So let's see how to create one of them. To create a free account, you need these three things. You need a Microsoft or GitHub account. You also need a phone number and also a credit card. Now note, with a credit card, you'll not be charged for anything. It's only for identity verification only, right? So where do you go if you want to create an account? If you are an ambassador, if you are a Microsoft Learner ambassador, you use this website. But if you are not, you can quickly hop onto this website, www.azure.microsoft.com/free, right? Now, when you enter this HTTP, it takes you to a window that looks like this, right? Now, I like to show you some of the free some of the services that you can get for free, then we continue from there. So I'll stop sharing my screen and take you to another window. So there are some free services that you get with the free account, and that is what we are about to see. Right. So the website brings you to this window, right? As you can see here, you can either click on the start free or you can purchase on this website. But what do you get with a free account? You get 12 months of popular free services. On top of that, you get $200 worth of credit that you can use to purchase Microsoft services for free for the first 30 days. And then on top of that, you get 25 or more services that are always free. They'll always be free for you. But what can you do with your free account? You can create personalized experiences with artificial intelligence. You can drive innovation for existing and future apps. You can build scalable apps and release features faster with the Microsoft Azure platform. So let's see some of the products that you can get for free for 12 months, right? So we've talked about virtual machines. You can get virtual machines for Linux. You can get virtual machines for Windows. You can get blob storage, 5 gigs of blob storage. You can also get 5 gigs of file storage, SQL database for developers. These are a whole lot of services that you get for free for 12 months when you sign up for free. Also, there are 25 or more products or services that are always free, and these are some of them. You can get the Azure Cosmos database for free. This will always be free. You can also get the Azure Functions. You get 1 million requests per month for free. It will always be for free. There are a whole lot of them. When you click on this link, you are going to see all of them. So to sign up, you can click on the sign up for free, and it will take you to the sign in window. So I've already signed in, so it's going to skip everything, but I want you guys to see the process. So I'm going back to the slides, and then we check the process from there. Okay, so back to the slide. All right. So when you click on the start free, it brings you to this sign in option, right? So you get to enter your Microsoft account, your Microsoft mail account, or you can also sign in with your GitHub account if you have a GitHub account. So when you put in your email and you click next, it will take you to the next window where you enter your profile details. So your country, your first name, your last name, your email address, and then your phone number. Right. So let's bear in mind that you'll be having these services for the free account. Even though it's free, you still get to use certain services for 12 months. In addition, you get $200 of credit, which you can use in your first 30 days. So after this window, you go to the identity verification, where you'd have to enter your phone number, and you either get a text message or you receive a phone call to verify the phone number that you input is correct. Then you move on to the credit card information. Now, again, you will not be charged for anything, but it's only for verification only, and you only be charged after you've used all your free services. And even with that, you'll be asked if you want to be charged before any deductions will be made in your credit card account. So you don't have to worry about anything. So after finishing with everything, it will take you to the Azure portal. Right now, the Azure portal is a graphical management solution for creating for configuring and controlling all the Azure services that you have, right, in your subscriptions also. Now with this also, I would share that screen. So we'll go off for a while. And then we come back, right? So I'm sharing my screen for the Azure portal. This is what the Azure portal looks like. So like I said, this is a graphical management solution for creating, for configuring and controlling all the Azure services that you have, right? And also your subscriptions. So after signing in, whether paid or free, all the services that you have will be shown here. You can manage them, you can configure them, you can control them from the Azure portal. So this is what the Azure portal looks like. So as you can see, you can create a resource. These are the virtual machines. When you click on it, you get all the virtual machines that you have. If it's for free, you are going to get the Linux virtual machine. You can get the Microsoft virtual machine as well. There's a whole lot here. So you can control your resources, you can manage your resources here, your resource groups. You can actually check your storage accounts. If you're an organization, you can actually manage how the employees or users use certain resources. You can limit it for them, or you can actually grant access to all of them from this portal. So basically, this is what the Azure portal looks like. After the event, you can actually click on the website that was shown in the slide and then explore for yourself. So let's go back to our slide. Right. Okay, sorry about that. Right. So we are back on our slide. So basically, we've gone through everything that we were supposed to do here. We've seen them. So this is the Azure portal that we had a look. So yeah, this is all we have for today. This is all we have for the introduction to cloud computing and Microsoft Azure. We'll take some questions if there are any. So you can leave your questions, or you can actually put your questions in the chat, or unmute yourself and ask your question, and we'll try our possible best to answer them. So are there any questions?
Yeah, hello.
Hello. Yes.
Yeah, Victor.
Yes.
Thank you very much for sharing that about Microsoft. My question is, how does this platform deal with single point of failure when you are dealing with database?
Come again, please.
How does this platform deal with single point of failure when you are dealing with the database set with Microsoft Azure?
Right. So we have our beta ambassador, some of our beta ambassadors here. They would like to help with the question. So I believe they heard the question. So your answer is coming up real quick. So while we wait for the answer, someone is asking from the chat, can we get the slides after the sessions and videos? Of course, you can get them if you want them. Emmanuel Mante, are you here, please? or Shadrach?
Yes, I'm here.
All right.
Let me ask. Let me ask. What was the question again? What was the question? I Shadrach is also on the call too, so if the person can quickly repeat the question, I'll be very happy. Yeah.
I heard something like, is it single point of failure when dealing with data on Azure, right? If that's what I heard.
Yeah, hello.
Hanson, can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, I'm saying how does Azure deal with single point of failure when you're dealing with a database?
Right. Can you repeat the question again?
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we
Hello?
can.
Yeah, I'm asking how does Microsoft Azure deal with single point of failure when you're dealing with a database set?
Oh, Shadrach, I think it's the same thing you said.
Yeah.
So I think
So Emmanuel, okay, Emmanuel, go on.
like I was saying, you would have to to improve really resilience and scalability. You would need Azure has a plan, an app service that offers multiple instances, right? So with a single point of failure, when one goes off, right, you have there is because it's multiple instance, because with the Azure service, you're able to replicate virtual machines, right? Using site recovery, you're also able to deploy multiple instances of services. So if one service goes off, another service comes on, and then that is how Azure is able to deal with the point of failure, the single point of failure you are talking about. With regards to database, was my answer clear enough?
Yeah. So that's exactly what Emmanuel said. So with the services it works with, okay. So in case there is a failure in one, the other picks it up automatically, okay. With regards to database or whatever, I mean, you are dealing with, okay. So I don't know how I should explain it, but if you realize when it is on premise something, okay, in that case when it fail you have to go and do something maybe manually, okay. That's how come we have something we call the hard disk rack. So the on-premise ones, people were using hard disk rack. So when one hard disk fails, the other hard disk picks it. When the other fails, the other picks it. I don't know if you've seen that before. Normally, it's in schools. Okay, the current universities, all the universities in Ghana are using the on-premise type. So if you go to the IT hall or maybe the server room, yeah, you will see something like that. Hard disk rack. Okay, a rack, something with a lot of hard disks in it, that switches, okay. And then when you come to Azure, it's something like that, okay. There's scalability there like that, something which does it automatically, okay. One field, another picks it up, another field, another picks it up. Without what you are going to do is you don't care what goes on there, just do your stuff and everything is being done magically somewhere for you, okay. So mostly single point of failure there is it's a bit I mean it's something which doesn't really happen like that, okay. So with Azure, I mean with cloud computing, that's what it's about, okay. Yeah, it works. It's just like magic, okay. Yeah, so you don't see whatever goes on, you don't miss anything, just the thing keep on going, but in the machine something went off somewhere, but you will never know about that. All you know is the thing is working for you. Yeah, so that's how it works.
All right. So quick one. With single point of what causes single point of failure? It is when like a required component in application, something that is required, like a functional component goes off. So let's say WhatsApp, one of like one particular service that is required for like the whole WhatsApp to operate goes off. Then you know that then you see WhatsApp, it becomes difficult to send messages and receive messages. So now to deal with a single point of failure, when you have a dependence like that, then it means that with Azure, they have there's a point where you can create multiple instances of something. So if you know, first of all, you have to do like a failure analysis test on all your dependencies. So you have to look at the components that you know that are very functional, and when one goes off, it's going to affect your service. And then you would have to, with Azure, you are able to have like multiple instances for those particular components. So for example, it could be like let's say we have there are a lot of several data centers, right? So if you know that your database is required for the application to run, or is a functional component of your application or your service, then you make sure that with Azure, they are able to have multiple instances of that database at the various data centers. So once a particular data center goes off quickly, it reroutes the whole to the other database. So then you don't get to really experience. That's how Azure tends to deal with single point of failure. Right. I hope you understand it.
Yeah, I understand it. Okay, I have another question concerning firewalls of Azure. Assuming there's vulnerability somewhere, disaster that occurred with uh, how does it? How do they recover? How do they respond to it?
I don't know if it's my point, but then the audio is like a bit faint. If you can
Attack. How do they? Can you hear me?
I think
yes, I can hear you now. Yeah,
type it. Okay, if you can talk. Else you can type
yeah, you
it.
can talk.
I'm saying I'm asking of this is there are certain vulnerabilities that can be exploited on this platform, and also there are certain occurrences that can easily happen. Assuming, let's take for example disasters. So how do they respond to them? How do they uh, follow up with those issues concerning those vulnerabilities and also disasters? And another aspect is firewalls. How do they put in certain things in order to avoid security uh, issues? How do they deal with that? Because I just want to know about those areas.
So you are concerned about the security of like the data centers or something like that, right?
Not security in general, but like as in firewall. See, there are certain uh, types of creation type firewalls. Either they implement or specific authorizations concerning those firewall systems. I just want to know how they are able to do them, and also how they are able to deal with exploit. How they call it? Uh, the vulnerabilities aspect, as in the cyber security aspect. How do are they able to? Do you get me?
Okay, okay.
Uh,
Yeah, I
Yes,
think I understand your
yes.
question.
First of one, Azure. Okay. Can you answered his question, right?
I was going to
Or,
answer it.
or are you? Okay. Then
Yeah. So first of all, tackling the question about the disasters and all that. Azure have multiple regions in each and every zone. So if you upload maybe your maybe you have a VM or something like that, it is created across several instances on various data centers or various services. So in case maybe something goes wrong or maybe a natural disaster or something like that, maybe something you are not aware of, maybe natural disasters, as I said, happens, what happens is that because there are already copies of your project on different regions, the one that is affected immediately moves onto the next region, so it doesn't further corrupt like the other files or the other software that you have in production. So in case of like these extreme natural disasters like flood and something like that, which rarely occurs because mostly where these data centers are situated, such issues have been carefully researched for. So let's say for flooding and for earthquakes and all that, before they even build the data centers, they make sure that all those things are checked for before they even build the data centers. But in case, let's say, well, something happens out of the blue, they have uh, availability zones that are already like in place so that in case all these things happen, your file will always be safe. Because I'm not sure there is a situation where uh, the disaster will occur at all these three regions or all these several places where your files are kept. See, so it will definitely happen at only one place, and then because it only happens at one place, your file will be secured because it is at other places. And also, addressing the fact about the security and all that, Azure provides security, top security professionals and top cybersecurity experts that are always in the data centers, making sure that your files are always secure. And also, um, all these people are responsible very, very well for anything that happens. So the thing is, in case they see that maybe one of your files or maybe your system is being hacked or something like that, maybe the firewall or something like that you said is being breached, they make sure that they immediately handle all those risk factors, and then they make sure that your files are always secure at each and every point in time. So for security, you shouldn't worry about it because it's something that have been really, really researched through and it have really, really been taken care of. So anytime you actually buy any Azure product or you create your software or something like that, you shouldn't worry because all these things are already taken care of. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
What question? I just
All right. All right. I can even make a top up on like the answer that was provided. That's like security. I don't know if the answer that was given, yeah, is okay.
but what
Does
was
that
the
answer
question?
your question or you need?
Ima, what was the question about?
The question was about how like Azure improves your security with regards to, let's say, like attacks, cyber attacks. So the firewalls, and also how Azure deals with certain risks. So it could be this cyber, this like ransomware, this SQL injections, and all those things that normally hackers like that comes with using a cloud service. So how does Azure like deal with such security issues and improve your security? I believe that was the question.
Yeah, that was it.
Oh, okay, then I think Seth has said it. I heard Seth saying a lot on that. So if
Yeah,
maybe
and
you can take
I just
off.
wanted to add that one, the Azure service has like built-in security controls, right? Now these security controls are like they are built into like the Azure platform, and then these security controls, they first off, let's say the Azure AD, that's the Active Directory. Now that is like where you manage access across like your cloud service. So with that Azure Active Directory, you are able to manage people who have access to your critical or your important files. So it's more like if it is me, myself, Shadrach, and like there are just a few people that have access to your most used directory that contains like some of your critical components. And then also like was explained. Um, so that's the first one. You're able to manage identity and access. even aside the already built-in security controls that is already on the platform. So let's say for Azure like this, Azure has a unique intelligence, like with the help of AI and all that. So they're able to even look at your workload on the server, and they're able to even suggest to you improvement that you can take to improve the security of your data. Yes, that is also another way that they help, and also they safeguard your data, because all data is encrypted. So if your data is in transit, it's encrypted. So once it gets to the point it needs to, you also have particular people that have access to a particular directory that is very like important to your cloud service. And then also aside that, like Nana said, they also have a lot of like cyber security experts. You have access to like 3,500 dedicated cyber security professionals, like who are just like Microsoft has put them together to work across the cyber defense operation center and then help mitigate risks, such as the ones you just said. Yeah. So like with the firewall that you just said, Azure allows you to manage access. And then also, let's say if you are running with like for physical security, for example, it was explained that there are several data centers in like 50 regions, and all these data centers, they have like extensive multi-layered protection to ensure that there is no unauthorized users cannot gain access to your customer data
Yeah.
or like your service data.
Even some of the data centers are under the sea. Okay, they have multiple data centers also under the sea, under the Gulf of Guinea. Is it the Asian? Yeah, the Pacific Ocean. Yes. So they have some of the data centers under the sea. So we call them the underwater data centers as well. So the data centers, they are everywhere. So as for your data, there is very safe. For now, it's very safe, unless maybe a natural disaster or something like that. Yeah, but for now, it's very safe.
If a natural disaster is still safe because there is a backup.
Uh, for natural disaster, I don't like talking about it because natural disaster can be really, really, really something else. Like even the safest database center will still be protecting itself because with a natural disaster, it's very, very dangerous. I mean, but well, that's if the entire world is destroyed by a natural disaster. But as in one particular country, that one the data center is still active somewhere else. Okay, they share. Okay, so if one goes off, the other picks up. If the other goes off, the other pick up. As I explained earlier on in the data rack, the disk rack. Okay, so one goes off, one pick up, one goes off. So in Ghana like this, our data center, who knows where it is located? Which of you knows where Ghana data center is located? None of you. Okay, so in Ghana, our data center, some are in northern region. I hope you know the reason why it's in northern region. You guys know the reason why, right? Because there's too much flood in the southern part. Okay, so they have much of the data center in northern region, like the government hospital and all those stuffs. Okay, much of it is in the northern region, and I think some too are in Accra as well. So that's how we situate data centers. You spread them out, so in case there is a situation at one end, you still have your data packed somewhere at the other end. Yep. I think whoever asked the question, I'm sure the person is okay.
Yeah, hello. Hello.
Yes, we
Yeah,
can
Hansen, you
hear
can
you.
talk.
Okay, final question. Uh, what happens when there's a misconfiguration with my data, my database? When there's a misconfiguration in the service, Well, how do they respond to that? Do you get a question?
You said misconfiguration, and I think maybe in my previous explanation, I made known of the fact that Azure provides you with insights into security issues with your workloads, right? And they provide clear suggestions on what to fix. So once there's a misconfiguration, like I said, they are going to provide you with like insight into configurations that can cause security issues for your workload, and then they are going to provide you with clear suggestions on what to fix. So it goes beyond like it's like they have the capability of like agentless alternatives. Do you understand? It's like how do I even explain this to you? They have like it's more like an agent that is just there to detect important security issues within like your virtual machines, your data sets, your cloud resources, and then they do what they provide clear suggestions on what to fix. So I believe that aspect is able to deal with the misconfiguration that you are talking about, because once it's a misconfiguration, that agentless alternative that is inbuilt into Azure protection is able to detect that and provide clear suggestions on what to do to fix that particular issue. So yeah, I don't I don't know if like that is clear enough or
Please, I didn't get what you said. Oh, please, can you start all over again?
like you were talking about misconfiguration, right? Yeah. And I was saying that misconfiguration with your is it database or something? And I was saying that Azure provides you with like
I'm talking
insight
about the
into
cloud.
security
I'm
issues
talking about
with
the
your
cloud
work.
security, like the cloud
Yes,
security.
yes,
How?
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, that they provide you insight into like security issues with your workloads and like and even provide clear suggestions on what to fix. So like it's more like they have an agent in the cloud to detect important security issues within virtual machines within your resources. And then that agent is able to provide clear suggestions on what to fix. So, like I'm saying, if there is a misconfiguration, it will be identified, and then there will be a clear suggestions on what to do to fix that issue. You get it? So, if you want us to delve deep, you can provide an example of a misconfiguration on like um, a misconfiguration that you will do, and then maybe we can delve into how Azure can help. But then I also like to say this is like introduction to cloud computing. So once we start delving into issues like that, people who are new to the cloud, they kind of like. So I'd like you to like put your questions together. Let's pick other questions, and then hopefully we can come back to yours like at the later part, so that maybe people have other questions too.
With that aspect, how they are able to
Okay,
how
Hansen, we are not really hearing you, but just as Emmanuel said,
let me
your
type the
questions
question
are
for you.
yes, yes. So the answers or the explanations will be sent to you via email, because it seems like there are other people on the call who might have questions, and also our time is far behind. So you'll be attended to via email. So you can leave your email in the chat, right? So I don't know if there are any other questions. If there are no more questions here, then we'll bring our event to an end. This is a summary of what we've done today so far. We've come to know what the cloud is, also what cloud computing is. We've come to see some cloud computing service types, the IaaS, PaaS, and the SaaS, some benefits of cloud computing, the types of cloud deployment modules, the public, private, community, and hybrid. Also some services that Microsoft Azure. Sorry. Also some services that Microsoft Azure provide, and then finally how to create a free account with Microsoft Azure. So on this note, would like to say thank you to everyone that was able to join the call. Thank you very much for honoring us today. We really appreciate it. And then we say a big thank you to Microsoft for giving us the opportunity to learn and share these resources with you guys, as well as our CPM, Aaron Blum, for the trainings and assistance. Thank you all to the contributors, Prince, Adimado, Emmanuel, Shadrach, and anyone who helped us in making this event a successful one. We also want to say a very big thank you to our senior lecturer, Dr. Sabri, for joining this call, honoring us by joining this call. So thank you everyone. Have a good day. Bye-bye.